We'll look ahead to some of the big matchups this weekend. We'll slide into the weekend coming up in about 20 minutes from now. Devin McCourty, NBC Football Night in America studio analyst and three-time All-Pro, won 3 Super Bowls with the Patriots. He was on the call last night, Eagles-Giants, Westwood One Radio. Also, he'll be on Football Night in America. It'll be the Lions and the Chiefs. That'll be at 8:20 Eastern. Devin, thanks for joining us. That's a quick turnaround from doing the game last night. At what point did you realize the Giants were going to give the Eagles everything they could handle?
I could tell in pregame, just walking the field and talking to different people, the Eagles, there was a sense of, I don't want to say concern, but they seemed like the team that felt all the pressure. They were kind of on edge. Whereas when I walked and talked to some of the Giants people, they weren't concerned about last week's performance. They said Dart, one interception was in the fourth quarter. On a fourth down. The other one, a receiver, Bo Collins, stopped. They were confident. And one of the guys told me, I think we can get this one. And for our team, we need to get this win. And they played like it.
Okay. Is this more about the Giants or more about the Eagles?
Oh, it's definitely more about the Eagles. The Eagles are a better football team than the Giants. But what you saw was a team that got outcoached and outplayed last night. Brian Daboll and Shane Bowen came in with good plans offensively and defensively, and the Eagles never adjusted. But that's what we've said the beginning part of this season. There's no adjustments. They play well for a half, and then it all goes, and you get nothing in the second half, and the same thing happened last night.
Have you ever tackled somebody like Cam Scatterbo?
Marshawn Lynch was a guy that, as crazy as Scatterbo is, I still would rather tackle him than Marshawn Lynch.
What was it, that experience of tackling Marshawn Lynch was like what?
I'll never forget, we were in Super Bowl 49, and I had to deal with the linebackers. I'll be there to support him on any coverage. Just don't let Marshawn Lynch get to me untouched. And we get to that point in the game. He gets to me untouched, and I'm in the open field, and we've all seen his highlights of stiff-arming people, juking people, and I'm thinking, just get him to the ground. And I get it there. I hit him. My head bounces back, but I tackle him. He stands up, and he just stares at me. He has this black visor. You can't see his eyes. And he puts his hand out and shakes my hand, almost as if he was in disbelief that I got him down. And I was like, you know what? Of all things I've done in life, I can say I tackled Marshawn Lynch in the open field and be happy about it.
Do you guys practice the Malcolm Butler interception, that play?
Yep. It was a Friday practice. He wasn't getting a lot of reps at this point in the season. He gets in. They run, not in the same spot, but it's that same kind of pick play. He gets beat on a touchdown, and anybody that's ever heard about Bill Belichick, Bill rips him the next day while we're watching film. So when Malcolm got in, I think that was the only play he was going to guard against to stop right there.
Was there any thought that Marshawn Lynch was going to get this ball?
There was a lot of thought. We went all goal line, all big people. We only had 3 corners on the field, and their job was to stop any kind of pass, no help anywhere, because everybody else all other 8 guys were playing against the run.
But he runs for – was there any thought of letting them score so Tom could get the ball back with some time on the clock?
I know I thought about that because I had played in Super Bowl 46 where that happened, and we had a play where we let Ahmad Bradshaw score. But once we didn't call timeout and the clock kept dwindling down, I kind of looked up and was like, we don't have time to let them score now, because even if we get the ball back, won't be enough time to win the game. So, it was a lot of thoughts. I don't know if other guys was, but I vividly remember that because of the Super Bowl prior.
All right, given what happened with the Eagles last night, who's the favorite in the NFC?
I think right now you got to go with Detroit. I think they're a team coming back from last year. They've gotten in their groove. It feels like they're playing better ball. Their coordinators, I think, are settling in, and they're getting to know exactly what this team is going to be good at and what they're not going to be good at, and they're playing to it. So I would definitely go with the Detroit Lions.
And I look at the Eagles' offense, and there's a disconnect there. I don't know what it is. And I mentioned last hour, they need to kind of rediscover, not reinvent anything, but how do you go from they got a great tight end, you got really good receivers, you got Saquon Barkley, maybe the offensive line's still banged up, but still, like accidentally, they should be able to score 30 points a game.
And Dennis, on both sides of the ball, I think they've gotten so used to coming out and saying, hey, good job. We got the best players in the league. We're just going to do what we do. And what happens is when you win a Super Bowl that next year, all offseason, everyone's scouting you to figure out how to beat you. And you're getting every team's best shot. And they're not ready for that. If you watch the game, it's the same routes over and over again, same run plays over and over again. Defensively, Jackson Dart scrambles 10 or 12 times. They never change anything. They don't go with a spy. It's just they think they're going to figure it out. And right now, they're not figuring it out. And if they don't, I think this season will continue to go downhill.
Is Tampa second in your power rankings in the NFC?
I would go Rams, then Tampa, but I like Baker Mayfield. I like what the Bucs are doing. My top four would probably be the Rams, Tampa, and Seattle.
Wait, Philadelphia's not in your top four?
I wouldn't say right now, not the way they're playing. And my issue with Philly right now is three guys on your team have a meeting. Three guys. Why are we talking about it in the media? I actually thought the way A.J. Brown answered the question after the game was the right way. I don't know what meeting y'all are talking about. If we talk, we don't need to discuss that we even had that conversation. So they have a lot going on from an X and O standpoint. But even outside of that, in the locker room, between the players and the coaches, it seems like they got to fix some things.
Talking to Devin McCourty, won 3 Super Bowls with the Patriots. But that next year, when you guys won Super Bowls, how did you hit the reset button or, try to fight off what the Eagles are going through?
Yeah, it was the guys in the locker room. It was, if we did have to have a conversation, we all knew, and a lot of that came from our head coach of whatever's discussed, whatever we're going through internally, we don't need to go and talk about it. I mean, the Super Bowl I first won was Super Bowl 49. Deflategate was the hottest topic, is what everyone wanted to talk about. If you go back and you listen to all our interviews, none of us are diving into the balls being deflated or what this means. We're focused on Seattle. We're focused on trying to win a Super Bowl. And I think that's all they need to do. But I think they need to trust all the guys in that building that they have the best guys to go win another Super Bowl. And I don't know if they feel that way. Lane Johnson, after the game, we're too predictable. Saquon Barkley says we're not too predictable. So, you have all of these different kind of versions of what's going on, and no one's kind of working together in symmetry.
The Chiefs and the Lions coming up this weekend. How big is this game for the Chiefs? You're at home, and you're still scuffling a little bit here, and Detroit's coming to town.
Yeah, I mean, for the Chiefs, there's an excitement because the last 2 weeks, this offense has looked like what we've seen in the past. A lot of creativity, getting the ball to different guys in space. But on the other hand, the games you've lost, it feels like your best players have been the ones that have cost you, whether it was Kelsey's drop against the Eagles, whether it was Chris Jones going inside against the Chargers, or this last game, him not, finishing a play, or then Harrison Bunker kicking the ball out of bounds. So I think for the Chiefs, they're like, how can we put together a complete game with all our top players and everybody on the same page? How can we do that week after week after week? We did it against Baltimore, but then Jacksonville, we have a couple plays that we let slip through our hands. What better way than to go against the Detroit Lions team that's going to come and try to punch you in the face for 4 quarters of trying to go and do it? I think that's what championship teams do if the Chiefs want to stay that way.
What's it like when you're out and somebody's really fast, and you have man cover? You're going to have help, but Xavier Worthy, it just kind of reinvigorated the Chiefs' offense. But there are guys who are fast, and then there are guys who are really fast. The difference.
Yeah, let's just stick with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's stick with the Chiefs playing against Tyreek Hill all of those years. And a lot of it had to do with, hey, he's really fast. We're going to put 2 guys on him. 2018 in the AFC Championship, he had 1 catch for 42 yards because we double teamed him the whole game. We had a guy outside, we had a guy inside, a guy short, a guy deep. And it's understanding not only that he's fast, but how the offense uses him. Where is Xavier Worthy lines up? Is he in the slot? Is he outside? Is he off the ball? Is he on the ball? And then knowing from your film study, how do they get him the ball depending on where he's at? You have to know those things if you want to have some kind of advantage, especially when a guy's that fast. He's going to kill you athletically. You got to be able to match it mentally to slow it down a little bit.
How close are you watching what's going on with Belichick at North Carolina?
I actually just had a conversation with one of my guys that are there, and said they were kind of caught off guard. Yes, the game Saturday didn't go well, but for what I was told was they had a conversation. Bill talked in the locker room to the team, and everyone walked away with like, man, it didn't go our way. But what coach, the message he just delivered, there's some hope going forward in this season. And that was Saturday after the game. And then Monday, they just felt like everything just hit them like a ton of bricks with all of these articles and stories coming out. And the one person told me there's no divide in the locker room. There's no questions about whether Bill wants to be there or not. So it's very confusing. And we laughed because being in New England, we saw so many different things. And he said, I never imagined coming to UNC, we get more coverage, more talked about, and more scrutinized than any time really being in New England. So it's just a lot going on over there right now.
And you probably have a lot of people rooting against Bill. And,
Yep.
And we start to pile on. It happens. We build you up and then we tear you down. And, it feels like they're not giving him enough time. I guess we expected results because they labeled themselves the 33rd team. So that's high expectations that you come here and you'll be going to the NFL. And maybe that's it, that they're losing. It's the way they're losing,
Yep.
not that they're losing.
And I've been around Coach Belichick for a long time. He knows, and I'm sure he's telling that staff, we either win or we get fired. And he used to preach that to us as a team. He used to say, as a coach, every day I come in here, I'm on an interview. If I don't perform, I'm going to get fired. And it's the same thing for the players when he was in the NFL. If you don't do your job, we get you out of here and we find somebody else. So even though I think, like you said, a lot of people are rooting against him, they also know they got to win some football games and they got to be competitive. Or in this landscape, whether college or pro, they get you out of there and they replace you as soon as that happens.
Great to talk to you. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it, Devin. Have a good weekend.
You too, Dan. Good talking to you.
Devin McCourty, three-time All-Pro, 3 Super Bowls. He was on the call last night. And be Lions Chiefs Sunday night on NBC and Peacock.